Hello everybody, this is Vita and I'm back to read another story called David and the Hairy Beast by Fiona Witch-Smith. David was the youngest of 7 brothers and 2 sisters who lived together with their mom and dad on a very busy farm near Bethlehem. When each of the children was big enough, their parents gave them important jobs to do. Eliab was in charge of taming wild stallions. Abinadab and Shammah were in charge of feeding and grooming a very angry bull. Radai and Osman were in charge of shearing the sheep and selling the wool to merchants at the market. Nathanael was in charge of keeping all the farm tools nice and sharp. Zariah and Abigail were in charge of baking bread, making cakes, and feeding their hungry brothers. It was a big job because each boy would eat at least 6 loaves and 3 cakes every single day. But David was in charge of nothing. As far as he could tell, no one noticed him, no one thought he was important, and no one listened to a thing he had to say. So one day he decided to tell his big brother, Eliab, how he was feeling. "It's not fair," said David. "Everyone's got a job to do, except me." "But you're too little to work," said Eliab from the back of a wild black horse. "Why don't you just play with your toys like a good little boy and leave the grown-up stuff to us?" This made David very angry. "I'm not a little boy. I'm nearly 7, and I'm big enough and brave enough to do anything you can do." Eliab just laughed at this and galloped away. But David's dad had been listening, and he found his son sitting on the grass near the sheep pen. "You know what, son?" he said. "I've got a very important job that only the bravest of boys can do. Some hairy beasts have been attacking my sheep, and I need someone to look after them. Do you know anyone who can do the job?" David wanted to jump up and down and shout, "Me, me, me!" But there was one thing stopping him: the horrible hairy beasts. David had never seen one, but his brothers had told him terrible tales of creatures with teeth as sharp as razors, eyes as wild as lightning, and claws that would scratch the skin of any boy or girl. That night, when his brothers and sisters had gone to bed, David took his tent and camped out beside the sheep pen. David's dad had given him a catapult and a bag of stones and said, "If a hairy beast comes out of the darkness, use this to scare it away." So David watched the shadows to make sure none of them moved. It was nearly dawn before one of them did, and its teeth were as sharp as razors, its eyes as wild as lightning, and its claws were ready to scratch the skin of any lamb that had become separated from its mother. David grabbed his catapult, fired a stone, and with a yelp, the hairy beast scuttled back into the darkness. As the sun came up, David's whole family rushed out to see what had happened. He stood there smiling with the catapult in his hand. "See," he said to Eliab, "I'm just as brave as you." "How did you do it?" asked the eldest brother. David's dad winked at him and said, "With a little bit of courage and a lot of help from God." Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned as more stories are coming soon.